Broadcasting from the Gaylord Rockies Resort in Denver, Colorado, Solutions Review is on location at Commvault GO 2019. Brought to you by Commvault.
It's Doug Atkinson back here on day 2 in the Commvault GO Expo Village. And this is where everything's happening. And it's a really unique conference in that everybody is here. You've got partners, you've got customers, and you've got Commvault executives just wandering around, and we happen to snag one. And that's the Chief Marketing Officer for Commvault, Chris Powell. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you swinging by. This event is really a reflection of your vision for how to bring all those moving parts together for a couple of days. Tell us about what's been happening with Commvault over the past year. You've done a rebranding. You've got new announcements happening.
Yeah, a lot of change. So first, thank you for being here. And it's this show, and one of the greatest things that we get to do at this show is not only get the experience of the folks who are here, but the reach that we can do with all of the content and all of the influencers and people that are here to sort of spread the word. And that's probably the biggest thing we're trying to do with Commvault GO, and then overall, there's been a ton of change in the last year. When I just take a step back in the last 6 months, and everything from leadership to an acquisition to rebranding, and then there's little things like launching a completely new website for the marketing group, and there's so many elements that we've been pulling together. And then you go into a little sort of startup within the company called Metallic that we announced this week for the new SaaS offering. So it's been an embarrassment of riches from a marketing standpoint of just the stories that we have to tell.
Well, we were here last year in Nashville with you, and honestly, the Metallic announcement is very exciting. It seems like it's extending your reach to the mid-market, and honestly, from some of the folks we've been talking to, I think a lot of enterprises, large enterprises, are going to be curious about that.
Yeah.
Then you've got Hedvig down the street here, and they're quite an amazing acquisition for you, and really it's added a lot of capacity and capability, and this event is just so much larger now. I mean, this is your 4th one, and you're really the father of this. Tell us what you hope folks get out of 2 days in Denver with you.
I think the big thing, especially this year, to take away from this event is there's so much new happening at Commvault, and what you can do at an event like this, and you sort of pointed it out. We really pride on this not being a sales event, right? We're not here trying to pitch people and it's a hard sell. We bring industry experts, we bring partners, we bring customers. There's a large number of prospects that are here. We end up with about 25% of the attendees are from outside the United States, so it's a 48 countries. I think it was 48 countries.
We've spoken to a few of them.
So it's an amazing group of people that we bring together, and it's all around the history of this company. And what we do here is these people, we love data, right? It's all about being smarter about how we're managing that overall footprint of data across all of our organizations that we work with. And the theme of the show this year is More Than Ready, and that's also sort of ties into our overall data readiness theme.
Well, and that is certainly a message that we're hearing over and over again, and we've spoken to a lot of customers up here this week, and honestly, it's fascinating to see what they're taking away, and a lot of it is that they can do much more with the data rather than just simply back it up through Activate and some of the other functions.
And certainly at the Hedvig acquisition, all of these things are. So when we've put this together, we've sort of said, I'll take you back a few months even. When we were first coming up with the theme for the show, but also as we were doing the brand refresh, what a tagline possibilities could be, we talked to a large number of customers, and there was one theme that started to emerge, which was all around peace of mind. That our best customers really said, the biggest thing I get from Commvault is peace of mind. And that's a great thing to be told, right? And in the world that we live in, those responsible for data, peace of mind is something that they seek, and as we started to try to articulate, well, what does that mean? How do you get peace of mind? And it's this feeling of readiness, right? You feel like you're ready, your data is ready for whether it's a malicious attack that could occur or some sort of a recovery need, but not only those things, but also to be able to be on the ready to use the data for value. So it's the theme really emerged, and the best themes in marketing that emerge are the ones that you don't have to work real hard for. And so by talking to the customers, really understanding what they're thinking about, that's how this all came to be. And so it's great that people I've talked to, the theme is resonating because the theme is real.
Well, and honestly, I mean, the story matches the theme because, I mean, you've gotten 2 amazing analyst reports. Where it pretty much shows where you're stacking up at the top of the heap with Gartner and Forrester.
And Ovum.
And Ovum, I just saw that one. Nice, a triple play.
Yes, it's very gratifying when we see all of these things, and those are aspects that when we look at this, the credit of this goes for our world-class engineering team that continues to innovate. And when you look at a company like Commvault, it's 20 years old. There's not a tech company in the industry that's 20 years old that people don't start to wonder if they're continuing to innovate. And we always look to those kinds of reports as being that third-party validation because there's always going to be a little bit of chatter around this. But this company's continued to innovate. The acquisition of Hedvig is a huge leap forward with innovation. The move into SaaS is a big leap forward with innovation and bringing value.
Well, one of the other things I wanted to talk about, and it goes along the lines of thinking globally, is your commitment to sustainability with not only some of the elements you put in the event here, but also with a recent announcement around the sustainability group
the UN Global Goals.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I'd love to.
Because it's a very thoughtful approach.
So we as an overall company, one of our core beliefs is that we want to stand for something that's bigger than ourselves as well. And as we were looking at the way that we impact the world, and this started a couple of years ago when we sponsored Robert Swan's expedition to the South Pole. I joined for part of it. Yes, it was crazy, a whole nother story. But what I took away from that, and they told me it would change me, so I didn't really think so, but what I took away from that was Robert's challenge with what are you going to do differently as an individual, as a citizen, and in the company you work for. As we started looking at Commvault and the company that we work for here, we realized that the carbon footprint of data is a growing issue with 5G, Internet of Things. The tech industry has to be serving as a leader around these issues, not as part of the problem. So the carbon footprint of data is an aspect that together working with our partners, we think that we can drive a conversation and drive real change. Whether that's working with Microsoft and some of the great things that they're doing with their public cloud offering, but also the myriad of partners that sort of come into that discussion.
Well, I just want to spin through a few of them because it's quite a collection that you guys have joined on with, and it's Coca-Cola, it's MasterCard, it's Google, Microsoft, Nike, Salesforce. I mean, you guys are really stepping up into the big time.
It's a big group. It's a great group. And the people who are doing this, so the Global Goals Initiative is there's 17 global goals that were all ratified by all member nations of the United Nations 5 years ago. They're calling the next 10 years the decade of delivery on those goals. And they range from everything from sustainability through poverty, life below water. There's a number of different aspects. We're the sponsor of Global Goal 12, which is around sustainable consumption and production. And from our standpoint, and when we were speaking to them about it, it's sort of this, people are having more and more of a discussion about this from the tech side of things and the data side of things, but we'll also work with customers and partners that participate in industries of all types to talk about consumption and production. And as you said, this event is when we look at what we do as a company, an event of this size can generate in 2 days 25,000 pounds of trash.
Right.
And a lot of that is what you see around here. It's the carpets, it's the all the building materials,
right.
Those kinds of things. And we work with local schools, local organizations in order to donate that so that it can be put back into purpose and be reused. So some of the things that you see around the show floor, we've worked to ensure that it doesn't just get tossed, but it gets brought back to life, which is a great initiative.
Well, and I think it's well done, and I've noticed another thing that's important to me, and that's you have a Women in Tech gathering as well, which I appreciate, because we've at Solutions Review tried to make a commitment to women as our tech writers, and I think that's another thing that's well thought out.
Our Women in Tech group has done great things for us here, and there's a few things around this event. Certainly the activity in terms of a reception that we bring a number of the leaders that come here. Our organization has shifted a lot in the last year or so, with 2 new board members coming on, 2 female board members. So there's real tangible change, such as those things. The other piece that isn't overtly stated, but I'll overtly state it here, sure, that there was something I was made aware of a little more than a year ago, which was around the inclusion criteria, it was called. And we try to have 50% of the people who speak on our main stage be female. We get close, and it's something that we continue to strive for as an organization. But our main stage has a lot of people on it, and we ensure that we're driving that inclusion across the board.
Well, it's a complicated job that you have, and we're all very busy, and sometimes we can put blinders on and only be focused on the short-term goals, but thinking outside of that, I appreciate what you're doing. Well done.
Thanks.
This event is great. We love coming here. Well, thanks for having us back. And best of luck with the rest of the year and into 2020.
Great. Thanks very much.
You bet.
Thanks.
Thanks.